bitch. So I literally just got done going to the movie theaters, and the movie this time around that I went to watch was Talk to Me from A24. A24 got some good shit, okay? Sometimes I'm not into all of that stuff, but you know, I feel like when it comes for a studio or indie place I want to go to, A24 is it. So that's like their new scary movie. Bitch, I got so much to say. First things first, the movie itself, 5 stars. Like for real, for real. 5 motherfucking stars. And like the characters, the acting, great. I'm glad to see like new people instead of like random folks I don't be knowing. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe that white girl who was like Riley or something, she looks familiar. But like, I'm glad to see new faces instead of the, you know, same old face. So that's cool. So with Talk to Me, you have, I wouldn't say, it's like this group of teenagers. One of them, the main chick, Mia, her mother died, right? And she's kind of feeling upset about it, but like by then I believe it has been 2 years in like in timeline form, but like we're in present format, right? And she's kind of going through the motions and stuff, but like she sees this stuff that's going popular on Snapchat or on social media, and it's like this game, the supernatural game, and she's kind of saying she wants to see if it's real or some shit. And basically she and her friend, she's like, nah, that shit's fake as fuck. You know, because you know, with technology, you can fake almost anything. I believe it. I understand why her friend thinks this shit was fake. Then she decides, you know what? Yes, I'm gonna do this shit. And at first, she wants to see if this shit is real. At first, she kind of convinces her friend to go because it's her mom's remembrance day or some shit. So they go to the party, and she's like, I want to volunteer for the hand. Now, the thing is, the game is you have to grab this hand that's written all, it looks like a graffiti art or some shit that's made out of cement or some shit, and you have to say, grab it as if you're shaking his hand and say, talk to me, right? And next thing you know, and at that point, it's like, if you go past, you see something, but then you got to say, I let you in, bitch. First of all, nah, not on my watch. But here's the thing, so you have to be around certain people so that way they can, and you have to light a candle too. So as soon as you say let you in, let them in or something, you start the timer for 90 seconds. You can't go over, otherwise they would want to stay. At least that's the rules of the fucking game, right? Bitch, this movie was a trip. Like, you got the storyline between her grieving her mother and shit, and then you have the storyline of this supernatural shit going on. It's a hot fucking mess, bitch. When I tell you, there's so much shit that I kind of want to talk about, and I know I'm gonna sound crazy. I don't give a fuck. Listen, I'll probably go on to Lovely T's Discord to talk about the movie, because at least then I'm with like-minded people. But we need to talk about this shit. Like, first of all, definitely 5 out of 5 stars. But I was scared shitless. Like, I only probably screamed once in the movie theater, but bitch, I was like cringing. And like some parts I was able to predict, like that time, I don't want to get into spoilers, but like that's basically the gist of the freaking movie. That was your time to like leave, because I'm gonna straight up go into spoilers, okay? Like for real, for real. So you have in the beginning of the movie, right? She grabs the hand, and like she's kind of a little bit of a weirdo. You can tell that her mom, she died of apparent suicide, right? She took too many pills. We learned that after she touches the thing, right? And she touches the hand and she says, talk to me. She sees some kind of spirit or some shit. She freaks out. She lets go of the hand, like, I'm not doing it. But like, with social media, and she's around other folks, so everybody got the cameras down, like, do it, and she's psyching herself up to do it again. So she says, talk to me, and then she said, you gotta let it in. Absolutely not. And I'm like, she says, I let you in. She immediately gets possessed by whatever fucking spirit that shit is. When I tell you, that shit was creepy, and I would say it's different for each folks, because not only did she get like possessed, she's going through, like, it's like whatever is possessing her, it's going through her innermost deepest thoughts and shit, whatever the fuck it is, right? And it brings out those emotions, because like, here's the thing, like, her friend is dating her ex-boyfriend, right? But they're all chill or whatever about it, but like there's a different part, right? And it's like she's saying, while she's possessed, she's like, I like you. And at first I'm thinking she's talking to the little boy who's like the best friend's brother, who later on got possessed. But turns out I was talking about the ex-boyfriend, and like, it was so creepy. And it's like, for some reason it got a hold on her, right? Because they were about to reach the halfway point, like the 30-second point. And it's like, okay, it's time to let go now. We need to start letting her go. But she held on firm to that hand, right? And bitch, she let go, and it was so creepy. Like, obviously the little brother, I'm gonna call him, I don't know, I'm gonna call him Rick or some shit, and the best friend, I'm gonna call her Riley, they're freaking out because they thinking that this shit is fake, but it's not. Like, the door opened by itself in front of everybody, and everybody's like cheering it on like it's some kind of fun party and shit, which technically it was, but it's like, hell nah. She lets go, and like, she's like, obviously the little boy, he's freaked out, rightfully so he's kind of tired. He wants to like go sleep in the sister's bedroom, but he's too scared to sleep by himself, so he sleeps with Mia in the living room, right? And they decided to talk about the death of the mother, and like, he asks like, what was it like for you to grab the hand? And she, in her head, even though to us it looks scary as fuck, she said it's like some crazy, like euphoric, like she felt happy, like she can feel and sense everything. And obviously we learned later on that she had passed, that maybe she had some things with some drugs. I don't know what type of drugs. More than likely it was probably just weed, because the mom pointed out and shit, like, you better not be smoking no pop or some shit up in this house. And like, the mom is on it, she's like, is there a party going on and everything else, even though like the kids are lying straight to her face. But like, yeah, she apparently had that shit, right? And of course later on in the movie she probably did some other stuff, but not that intense stuff. So to her it's like euphoric and shit. So we get to the scene where they're sleeping in like the pull-out couch, those couches that turns into a bed. And she's like, and she, like, the dude, he was watching YouTube to fall asleep, that's what I'd be doing, had the headbuds in, and I'm thinking that this is Riley's hand pulling out the earbuds. And that should have been the first sign, right? That should have been the first sign that, like, later on, like, now that I remember the details, but like, you see her hand, or what appears to be her hand, pull the earbuds out and take the phone away. And he's like, kind of like, making sure like he's good and everything, like how your mom would probably pat your head, and stuff. But then the hand goes back and it's some kind of dead hand rubbing his face and shit. Honey, that creeped me out, right? So then we go on. They decide to, Mia, like a crazy person, like, I want to do it again. What? Bitch, first of all, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's what me and my spirit was like. Absolutely not. You want to do this shit again? So they decide to like go up to try it at the best friend's place, Riley's place, right? I was like, okay, we'll do it again, but like, the mother's on it, like, there better be no party, no drinking, none of that shit, because she's on her way to work and shit like that. That shit happens. When I tell you, they decide to go with the hand. Who was it that went next? I think she was asking questions about the hand, like, okay, whose hand, like, is this some weird art, where'd you get it from? And like, she's finding out, like, oh, it was the legends say that it was some dead person's hand. Not really, well, they're dead themselves, but whoever hand it was, they claim that they have a connection to the dead. But when he died, they decided, you know what, let's keep his hand, right? For some odd reason, him or her, their hand, and they decided to like cement it and like preserve the hand. And they said that that was just one part of the hand, while the other one is lost somewhere. And like, they're saying, oh, maybe the other dude, maybe the other girl was saying, oh, maybe that the person was actually a Satanist and shit. First of all, absolutely fuck not. If I heard that shit, I'm like, first of all, I'm not even gonna be in the room, bitch. No. So who was it? Oh yeah, the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend. He decides, you know what, I want to do it. So he's the first volunteer, right? He decides to grab the hand, and when I'm telling you, it's like the spirits, or whatever the fuck it was. Personally, like, I grew up in a Pentecostal household, so like, we believe that if it's a spirit that's talking to you, it's actually a demon pretending to be a spirit. Because what was it in the Bible when David, was it David? You know, I think it was David. In the story of David, the king before David, forgot his name already, he went to a witch or some kind of medium. He wanted to talk to the witch or the spirit, and he wanted to know, like, okay, is David going to be the next king? What's going to happen to me? And the reason why we believe that, that the spirit is actually a demon pretending to be, someone else or a spirit, at least in the Pentecostal church. I don't know about any other churches, but in that story, it showed an example of when the king went to the spirit. Oh, he was trying to talk to the prophet who found David and stuff in the wild and shit. The one who, I think he died at that point, right? So he went to the medium to try to talk to the prophet. And he said, hey, like, what's going to happen to me? So the prophet, he was a prophet for God, right? At this point, he's dead already. So he's trying to talk to the spirit. The spirit of this alleged prophet, he says, bow down to me. Now that's a red flag, because in this Bible it said you bow to nobody but God. So that was the first red flag to let you know that that wasn't the prophet that the king was talking to. It was a demon, or some kind of evil entity pretending to be the prophet, because they don't play that shit. Okay, so when that shit happened, right? Tell me why. So when that shit happened to the boyfriend, we're gonna call him Mike or some shit. Like, Mike, he gets possessed by whatever he sees, right? And and the eyes go black, completely black, and he is saying, because since he's with like Riley right now, and he's like, your touch makes me feel disgusted. I'm disgusted by touch, because she's been trying to go with him and stuff, but he's not going for it, because I don't know, it's okay for him, but but in his head, or whatever the spirit is saying through him, he's saying your touch disgusts me. You make me feel weak. That's why he hates you. And then he's looking, and he gets real sexual with it. It's like he's trying to jack off in some shit. And then it fell to the floor, and he started making out with the dog, bitch. He started making out with the fucking dog. Disgusting. But at that moment, when I saw that in the movie theater, and how it's saying his innermost thoughts, and how, coming from my Christian background, even though I'm not Christian, whatever, I'm thinking, that seems like he got possessed by some kind of succubus. Straight up. Like, the way that he was touching himself, the way he was like humping and like going for any feel, and like, it was so disgusting. And with the dog scene, disgusting. And when it was time to like go, he was like, delete the video, because everybody's recording and shit for social media and shit, which I need to talk about that shit too. So everybody's recording and shit. So he runs out. He's like, and then he's like, okay. So they take turns getting possessed by this shit. Eventually he comes back. He's like, fine, we'll do it again, but this time no cameras and shit. So they're taking turns getting possessed. What? Like it's a game. They're still recording. After they just say, okay, no cameras. But they're still recording and shit. And then finally, the little boy, I'm going to call him Rick, he said, I want to try. First of all, no, you're too young for this shit. And it feels like, at this point, it feels euphoric to these folks. Even though on the outside, it looks scary as fuck. And you see them go through different changes. Like at first, this person is singing. This person is, next thing you know, this person is, acting like a dog. The next person is growling and shit, and like the next person is like dancing with the chair up and shit, and I'm like, no, this is too fucking much. This is too much. And then the little boy decides, I want to do it, and the sister's like, no. They get into a weird argument for family and shit, and it's like, And Riley, since she's in the middle, because she's like they consider her family, she's like, I don't know, we should probably let him. And I was like, absolutely not. So first of all, I hate that shit about Riley. She was like, no. But like, I mean, not Riley, Mia is considered part of the family. Like, Mia said, first of all, that's not even your little brother by blood. First of all, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And like she said, maybe for like 60 seconds. No. So they brought it down to 50 seconds. So finally and then she's like, I don't know about this. After the argument happened and Riley, went out the room and shit, she decided, the little boy's like, okay, I'm gonna do it for 50 seconds. Worst choice fucking ever. He gets possessed, but this time, instead of a random ghost, it was actually Mia's mom that died from taking too many not painkillers, too many sleeping pills. She died, right? Her alleged spirit, and remember what I said about the whole Bible and shit? Alleged spirit possesses the little boy, and she starts to cry, and he starts to cry like, oh Mia, I miss you. No, and Mia, she's getting emotional. She's like, Mom, is that you? And it's time. At this point, we're getting closer to the time, bitch. And as the so-called mother spirit is talking, she's like, he starts to like make a choking sound. And the dude is like, okay, or guy, or girl. I don't know if it's a lesbian who looks like a boy. I don't know. So we don't know. Anyway, the other dude was like, listen, it's getting close to that 90-minute mark. And Mia's like, no, let me talk to her. Bitch, no. This is a child at the end of the day. First of all, you do what you want with yourself, but don't be pressuring these other kids and shit, into your bullshit. So they go over to and that's when shit, when they were close to the end, shit got crazy. He started to hit himself on the table multiple times, and he ended up getting thrown back into the freaking window, broke the fucking window, and then the chair chain, and he's like hitting himself over and over and over again on that fucking decks. Bitch, when I tell you that shit was crazy as fuck, bitch. And then the sister hears all the commotion and runs in to stop him. ends up breaking her hand, but they ended up pulling the hand away and everything else. But like, it was all a blur. The police are called. They ended up showing the video of it, so that way they can get absolved, because like they thinking that they're doing drugs and shit, because it's Australia, bitch. I don't think they play that shit over there. So they're showing the police. Little boy's in the hospital. His face is fucked up. Rick's face is fucked up. And I kid you not, when they go home and it's a whole blur. Now now Riley and Riley's mom is like, don't come here, Mia. Like the mother is like mad angry, as she should, because it's like, bruh, like I entrust y'all with my kids and like this, and my youngest son, and this is what fucking happens. And it's like, Mia, did you do something? Did you give him drugs and shit? Like, I know you've been doing the hard, like, first of all, I'm offensive, but I was like, but it's true, like, they weren't doing no drugs. And it's like, how can you explain, like, oh, he just got possessed by some kind of hand? What? An adult would probably like, what the fuck? So she gets uninvited from, like, she says, if you come back to the hospital, we'll call you, please. That happens. But like, while she's walking away, she sees the spirit of her mother in the corner. Mind you, when this whole thing is happening with him smashing his head and shit, 2 minutes have passed. Remember, it's only supposed to be 90 seconds. 90 seconds. Bitch. 2 minutes have passed this whole fucking time period when he's smashing his fucking head. So, at this point, we know the spirits are saying, because we know the rules. They go. She sees her mother image in the hospital mirror and shit. She goes and follows it like a crazy person, because she's desperate for her mama, which I understand, right? Apparent suicide and shit. And she's like, she follows her to the freaking bathroom. Honey, the door closes, right? And she's like she's trying to open the door because she hears her mom and her crawling out the door, because when her mother died, when she took too many of those freaking sleeping pills, at that point, I think her mother was trying to crawl towards the door to try to get it open, but because the drugs have already been in her system, she was too weak to even open the door. And her father was trying to open the door, but like her body is blocking it. So you see that same scene kind of repeat, but with Mia, where she's trying to open the bathroom door over and over, and you can hear her mother screaming for her, like, Mia, open the door. Honey, she opens the door, nothing's there, as usual, just a toilet seat. And here comes the boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, or whatever the fuck. He comes in, Dylan comes in. He's like, bro, what's going on? Like, I think I'm seeing some shit. And she decides to drive him home. But because he kind of lied to his parents, saying that he's at a cousin's house, they decide to go to her place. So she's sleeping and shit, right? And at this point, they're sleeping in the same bed, even though, like, there's some kind of weird connection going on, because since technically they used to date. But, like, you know, she's like trying to stay away from him, like, emotionally, because, you know, technically he's now dating Riley. So they're in the bed sleeping, right? She finally falls asleep. He's already asleep, but she finally falls asleep. She's dreaming. In the dream, they're like hugging each other, her and Dylan. And she hear in the background is like, you hear someone trying to break down the door or some shit, right? And you see her mom trying to come to her, saying some shit to her, right? And at that point, she was like, but then at this point, right, she wakes up, so we think. She sees something in the corner, bitch. Like, you know when you have a pile of clothes in the corner, and like if it's dark, you think that you're seeing some shit, like someone in the corner, when really it's just a pile of clothes. So at first the camera looks like it's a pile of clothes, but really it's a fucking spirit or some shit. And you see this old ass lady in her bra and shit, and pearls and shit, and she's crawling towards the bed. And Mia, she's just like, and Dylan's still sleeping, bitch. Dylan's still sleeping. And Mia's like, Dylan, wake up, honey. This old lady sprinted towards Dylan and started sucking on the feet, bitch. Started sucking on the fucking feet like a crazy person. And then and she's like yelling, and she's yelling at Dylan, wake up. But then Dylan wakes up, and you see Mia was the one sucking the feet, but you can see her eyes are white. At this point, you know that bitch is possessed. But Dylan, he freaks out. He goes home, like, he's like, nah, fuck this bitch, I'm out of here. As I would too, if I see some bitch sucking my feet and her eyes are hella white. So finally, like, they meet up, the group of friends and shit, is like, what happens if they say, like, they're trying to go over, okay, like, did y'all, because here's the thing, when you light up the candle after the 90 seconds are up, after you separate the hand, you're supposed to blow out the candle. So everybody's trying to rethink that night, like, okay, did we blow out the candle? What if they're still in? Like, so they're trying to do the whole ritual again, like a crazy person, right? And here's the thing, right? The bitch steals the freaking the hand thing. I was like, bitch, no. Why would you steal the glove? So she steals the glove or the hand or some shit, and she's trying to communicate by herself. Big no. And at first, I was definitely freaking out because you're supposed to have someone there to like get you out of that shit. So, and technically, she's trying to see, okay, how do we help Riley and shit? So she decides, like a crazy person, to like they decide to contact someone else who had this stuff before him. Before this group of misfits, right? Now, in the very first scene, you see this party going on, and you see like this dude with blonde hair. He's at the party. He gets a call from someone like, "Hey, your brother's freaking out," and some shit. So he goes to the party trying to get his brother out. You can see his brother got scratches all over his body, right? And in that first scene, he's like talking to himself. It's almost as if he's possessed himself. And next thing you know, he stabs his brother, and then he kills himself with the knife. And you see the same brother, luckily he's still alive, brother obviously who killed himself, he's dead. But they're trying to get information out of him, like, hey, what's up with this hand shit? Like, how do we stop it? And the two groups of friends, like the two dudes, or one dude, one girl, I don't know. They were apparently allegedly friends with the dude who killed himself. And the brother, when he sees them, comes up to the, oh no, not these motherfuckers. Like, some kind of friends you are, like, you only use him and shit to like use him around and some shit, and like, so he doesn't want to talk to them. But Mia finally talks to him, like, listen, like, my friend's brother Rick, he's in the hospital, like, like, what's going on? Like, they won't like, he's like, listen, y'all should have gotten rid of that shit a long time ago. Y'all should have thrown that shit, burned that shit, or whatever you guys needed to do, because now, like, they're gonna be stuck with him. If I were you, I would suggest, like, because they need a body for now, but like eventually, if the body gets weaker, they're gonna go, right? So that's what he tells us. They're going back to the like a crazy person, right? And he's like, no. Before that, she's talking to the hand by herself like an idiot, right? Before we reach the hospital scene again, she talks to the hand. She's talking to her mother, right? And she's trying to ask her mom, like, Mom, did you really kill yourself? Like, no, I didn't mean to on purpose, and darling. So at this point, you're starting to think, okay, did the father kill the mom? Did the father kill the mom or some shit? And that's what the spirit is implying. Like, no, I didn't kill myself on purpose, or no, or all that other shit, right? Because Mia and her father, they have a strained relationship ever since the mama died, and she knows that the father's keeping a secret. So you're thinking, did the father kill him? But at the same time, like, can we really trust his spirit? Me, from my background, from Pentecostal church, the answer is no. But at the same time, you're into it, so it's like, I don't know. Like, the father's kind of acting weird, but then again, like, technically it's only been 2 years since the mama died, so that's a long time to grieve, and there's no really time limit of when you can grieve and stuff, since that's his whole wife and everything, and now he got to raise his kid by himself, all this extra shit, and she's probably, I don't know, child. That's a whole lot of shit. So now, she's like, you need to help Riley. That's what the mother said. You need to help Riley. He's in trouble. He's in trouble. And I mean, not Riley. You need to help Rick. He's in trouble and shit. You got to help him out. So that's when they got the bright idea. Like, maybe we should do it again at the hospital. Like, bitch, first of all. And like, the sister, rightfully so, Riley, she's like, hell no. You want to do that shit again? The same shit that got him in the hospital to begin with, bitch? And I was like, nah. Exactly, period. So she's about to lose her whole entire friendship, as she should. I'm sorry. Sometimes there are consequences to your actions, okay? And they decide to, like, go to the hospital. They finally decided, she's like, okay, you got 1 hour before my mom comes back. Let's do this shit. So she tries to put Riley's hand into, get the hand to Rick. Mind you, Rick is in a comatose state. And again, because like, he was getting slightly better where they had him sitting up and they were washing him. But then he attacked his sister again by biting him. And then he started smashing his head again. So he's trying to kill himself again, right? So at this point, he's unconscious again. So they decide to put the hand together, and Mia's like, talk to him. But here's the thing, like, how do you know it's worked? Like, they put up the candle and everything, and they only did it for a few seconds and then blow out. But it's like, how can you know? Because he's in a comatose state. You can't see him. You can't, like, he can't communicate, like, yes, I see the spirit. Because, like, it's very personal. Like, it's very personal. You, like, so it's like, and they do it twice, didn't work. So Mia got, like, a crazy person, decides, like, okay, what if his spirit is, like, kind of disconnected from his body, and that's why he can't communicate and shit? What if I try to communicate to him? So She just, and like they're all saying, no, 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 don't do it. This is crazy. Let it go. So she decides to do it anyways. Like a freaking crackhead. Straight up like a crackhead. Like even like the way the face changes and how it looks like the skin feels peeling when you get possessed by this thing, spirits. Your face changes, like your skin condition changes. It's like as if you've been taking drugs. That's why it's like, no. Like at this point, me is addicted and shit. So she grabs the hand and is like, talk to me. And the spirit of this little girl who must have died at the hospital says, started talking to her and was like, and Mia's asking, can I please talk to Riley? Can you show me where she's at? And I need to know where he's at. And then the little girl is like, I can take you to him. I let you in. She lets Mia in. Okay? She lets Mia in. So they go see where the fuck Rick is at. Rick, honey, you see a whole bunch of dead people crawling all over him, and Rick is screaming. He is rightfully freaking out, because if I see a whole bunch of dead people, blood and shit everywhere, like all over me, and like Mia is probably freaking out, because like and I forgot to mention, when he tried to kill himself again, he's like, we won't, like he or whatever spirit was possessing him was like, we won't let him go, honey. And when I saw that scene with the whole bunch of like spirits around him, it reminds me of a legion. If you know anything about the Bible of demon possession, it reminds me of a freaking legion that was possessing, who was trying to grab at the soul. That's what that shit reminded me. That's why this movie is so fucking scary and shit. And when they said that we won't let him go, I was like, hell no, nigga, nah. At this point, I'm like, nah. So she's like, she goes home. They go home. They was like, no, this is over. And she tries to talk to her mother again, like, you have to go help. And at this point, the dad is like, yeah, you're right, I have been hiding something. Mind you, the spirit that she's been talking to, her so-called mother, is like, I didn't do it, like, and all this other shit. But like the father finally decides to have a heart with the daughter. She brings out the note, and how like and basically it's a suicide note, to be honest. And at this point, she's like, bruh, the suicide note, it was like so sad and everything, and like Mia's not accepting it. She literally tells Mia tells her dad, Max, that's his name, Max, that like, no, mom didn't do it, she told me. And like, because the father don't know what's going on with his daughter, he's like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't want to keep this from, I shouldn't have kept this from you, because I didn't want to like get you even more, so I didn't want you to blame yourself for your mother's death and shit. And then she's like upset, and you hear that fucking falling at the door like the mother did. Child, she's like got the bright idea again. Meanwhile, like the father's finally hugging, like they are so distant, but like they finally have the heart-to-heart moment. He's crying and shit, and Mia goes into the room. She's still crying and shit. She's like, no, I refuse. Again, mind you, she left the hand in the bag, but because she hears her mother, she goes to the mirror and she's talking to the so-called spirit mother. The mother is saying, no, it's not me, I didn't do it, that's not your father. Meanwhile, at the same time, you hear Max, the father, banging on the door as if he's trying to get in, back again. And you just hear him getting more and more aggressive. And at this point in the movie theater, you're thinking, oh my God, is that not him? Is he possessed? Because at this point, like, you're letting the spirits into your fucking house. Like, it's been over 2 minutes. At this point, they want to stay. And considering how many times, because I be watching this shit, how many times, like, we see demon possession, how they follow a person, and how they attack the person, and how they attack, to me, I'm going to call these spirits demons and shit. But it's kind of confusing. But, like, how, like, these demons, or, like, spirits, they would attack you and your family. So I'm thinking that the dad probably got possessed as well. And, like, the so-called mother is like, no, that's not him. That's someone pretending to be your dad. And I'm freaking out, because at the same time, you're going between the two scenes, between the dad grabbing the backpack and opening the hand and shit. And finally, the dad breaks in, and he looks dead, bitch. And he attacks me and shit. And she's trying to get off, like he's trying to get off and shit. Like the mother is like, he's gonna hurt you. You gotta go and everything. And you gotta save Riley. The only way to save Riley is to kill him. I knew it. I knew that bitch was fake. Hell no. Like, I promise, like, she's always here, like, I promise you, I will protect him. Because you see Riley's so-called spirit, I mean, not Riley, Rick's spirit on the bed, like, convulsing and everything, like, you got to kill him. I will protect him from the others. No! Fake-ass bitch. Fake-ass bitch, no! So, they go in. Max, he breaks the door, dead Max, right? And he is choking the shit out of Mia. Mia is trying to reach for the scissors and shit, but at the same time, in the other scene, because it's happening at the same time, it's like you see them both switch back and forth, you see the dad, who I'm guessing is the real Max, and I knew that it was some crazy ass shit, because Max, the real Max, he's hearing his daughter screaming, and he's freaking out because like because they just had a heart-to-heart moment about the mother killing herself, and now, and it's like he's reliving his own nightmare. Like you can see the pain in like in the dad's face, right? It's so sad, y'all. Like he's breaking down the door. He's like, Mia, please open the door, please, not again, like not again. I was like, oh my god, Max. But I knew that the minute that she was trying to reach for the knife, just how convenient it is that he breaks down the door and he's trying to get his, because he sees Max, Mia convulsing on the floor, and he's like, no, Mia, please get up. But as soon as he touches her, because mind you, in Mia's eyes, she sees Max, the dead Max, and as soon as she grabs that scissors, boom, into the dead Max, but it's actually her real dad that got stabbed in the neck. Bitch, Max is bleeding, okay, bleeding, and I'm like, this bitch is going to jail. I'm thinking that she done killed her father and shit, because he's bleeding at the neck. That's a lot of blood and shit to be losing. So she makes it to the hospital, changes her clothes and shit, and she's about to go kill Rick. She's like, okay, I see what you mean. They go. She's at the hospital. Like she's calling her best friend Riley. Like, listen, I know what to do. Can you please come to my house? Riley, she leaves the mother, because technically the mother's there, but she was out the room. She leaves to go to the Mia's place. But meanwhile, Mia is in her car on the other side of the hospital, and she sees her friend leaves. They go into the room, and she's about to go for it, right? But then the mother, Riley's and Rick's mother, goes inside the room and is like spooked, and she gets spooked. She's like, I'm so sorry. Like I figured that you would come. And she's like, and Mia, she's about to leave because, remember, mom threatened to call police on her if she ever shows her face around them again. So she's like, no, and then the mother was like, no, stay. I'm so sorry for me accusing you of those things. They found no drugs in his system. Like, he was just having a mental breakdown, probably breaking down. Like, I just was too busy to see that. And now she's like ready to cry and shit, and like, listen, I'm so sorry about that shit, bruh. Somehow they have a heart-to-heart moment, and like Mia asks for some alone time, like a crazy bitch. Meantime, Riley's at Mia's house. She goes inside. I don't know how this bitch got access to the house, but she got access. I don't know. Do people do? I don't know, child. But she goes into Mia's room. She sees the hand, and she sees the father bleeding out. Somehow the nigga's still alive. That's a whole lot of blood. Somehow the man is still alive. It's like, mom, and then but at the same time, she's about to she got the scissors, and you see this old man is in place of Rick. Rick is the old man is like, no, like, you need to touch me. I hadn't been touching so long, and like grab my hand and talk to me. And then she's like, no, this ends today, bitch. And she's about to stab Rick, right? But then he's like, please let me go outside and some shit like that. Meanwhile, Riley, she's calling her mom, like, yo, where's she at? Where's Mia? And some shit, and then she's like, Mia's, what do you mean? Because she said that I'm calling the ambulance. Max is, almost dead and some shit. And I'm like, what the hell do you mean? And Mia's here. Mia's at the hospital. Mom, don't stop her. She's dangerous right now. Child, the mother's running back to the hospital. They're gone. Mia and Rick, they're gone. And you just see, in the distance, from Riley, she's driving all the way back to the hospital. She just sees, Mia carrying, Rick in the wheelchair. And in Mia's eyes, you see the old man in the chair. So she's going towards the highway, bitch, to about to push this man off the ledge and shit, honey. And you see Riley running. And I'm like, bitch, I'm gonna need you to run a little faster, okay? I'm gonna need you to get fit next time. You need to get there fast, bitch. She gets there, and they're going back and forth, and it's like, and then you see the mother again going, you're doing so well, you're doing the right thing and everything. B will take care of him, okay? Again. But then in a split second, you see Mia, you see from the POV of the drivers, and something is hitting the road. We don't know what the fuck it is, and then it causes this accident and shit, and you see Mia on the floor. Now, I knew some shit was weird because the way that she got up and shit, she's all bloody and shit, and she's looking to the side, and Rick, he's all normal and shit in Riley's hand, in Riley's arms and shit. And at that moment, I knew that this bitch was dead. Ain't no way that you jump into a highway from that ledge and not, be, alive and shit. That's like damn near impossible. So you see her, and it's like she's like being transported back to the hospital, but you see her like it's almost like a out of body experience. And you hear her name being called, like Mia and all that other stuff. So it's almost as if you're following her. She's in the hospital. She's seeing other folks, and like they can't hear her. And then next thing you know, you see her look at the mirror. She can't see her own reflection, and she's following her dad because technically the dad by now is probably at the ambulance and some shit in the hospital by now. So she's following her dad. She's thinking that the dad is she's following her dad's spirit, right? Honey, it gets dark. It gets dark, and then you hear the flicker of the freaking candle being lit. And she, like a beacon, she's walking towards the candle. She sees someone's hand outstretched to her, and she grabs the hand. And it's someone else looking at Mia, the dead person, and it's like, and he's freaking out seeing Mia. And Mia, she's so out of it. She's like, bruh. And then he's like, and then the friend, the other dude, I don't know who got the hand now. He's like grabbing the fake hand, and like, and like the friend is like, you gotta let it in. He says something in Greek, like, she's looking at me. She being Mia. And then the friend is like, you gotta let her in. And then he says, I let you in. And that's how the movie ends, bitch. That's how the movie ends. Now, and here's what I'm thinking. Obviously, from different paranormal communities, I feel like I should do a part 2. From different paranormal communities, whenever I'm watching some TV show about some shit, it's always some kind of weird shit, how like, how maybe something powerful is trapping, these spirits in. Like whenever, especially if it's a tragic area where some bad shit happened. Like for example, I will never forget, like this one show, I forgot the show. They were doing a paranormal investigation at this plantation. And it's like they're talking to the spirits of, the dead Africans who were there. And through the EMF situation, they're saying like, he won't let me, aka the spirit of, the master. And then they do the research. It's like, holy shit, they were talking about this person or some shit, if you believe that stuff or not. But it's moments like this, it's like, okay, who the fuck made this hand in the first place? And if it really is the medium's hand, like, does he have some kind of power to keep spirits trapped to him into the hand? Because you see a whole bunch of writings and letters on that freaking hand and shit. And like, because like now Mia is one of the dead spirits, so it makes me think like all the spirits that she's been seeing has been real people, but like trapped together. And like now it's kind of shit, but at the same time it's kind of scary because it's like a weird connection that they have, that the spirit have, or whatever demonic shit is all twisted. Because now she's like one of them, but it's like compared to all the other spirits that we see, obviously that's how the movie ends, but so we don't see what happens next. But like compared to all the spirits that we see, it's like it gets into your innermost thoughts, and they do the most craziest demonic shit. And how like they said that we won't let you go and all this other stuff. And if it is, then it's like a legion of like these spirits who died, and now they want to have any sort of form of attachment. So it's like if you go over the limit, they just want to stay because that's the only connection that they have to this world. And if you cut that connection off, it's like, it's crazy. And like the way that, especially, and I keep thinking back to that scene where like all the spirits are fighting over this little boy's body, and how, demons, they do need a body to enter this world. And of course, there's a whole social media aspect of it, of how you got a whole, like, how certain trends that I be seeing on social media, that they be making popular shit, some shit, like, oh, and it's not to say, like, how, I would have to say, new age spirituality, basically. And it's like, bruh, yeah, sure, you're going on TikTok, but it's like, there's so much misinformation going around, and it's like, you don't know what the fuck you're messing with when you're trying this shit. Like, when you're on TikTok, sometimes YouTube, and other shit, and it's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's like other people get called out, and then next thing you know, it's like a whole war going on. But it's like, bruh, you don't know what you're doing when you're doing these so-called things that you think is just a game. It's just crystals and some shit. And I don't care if you look at me crazy, but yes, that stuff is real. I don't give a fuck. That stuff is real. But like when you have like you're messing with crystals, you're messing with this, you're messing with that, and sometimes, I'm gonna be honest, gods, they don't be mixing with each other. So you're trying this spirituality, then you're trying this spirituality, then you're trying to mix them together to make your, it's fit my personality, I'm gonna do this and that. No. Like, you can't be mixing these gods, if you believe that they're gods or spirits or demons, whatever your belief is, I don't care. But like, you're mixing these things up. thinking it's a hot trend or thinking that, oh, it fits my personality, I'm gonna go with this and that. But it's like, you don't know what you're tapping into. And like, even like the reaction of the kids who's recording them getting possessed and shit, as if it's a fucking game. Like, oh, this is the best one yet. Bruh, no, absolutely not. Like, it, like me, like I just turned, I'm 24 now. Like, this is what my generation is into right now. I'm like, bruh, like, y'all be trying any new trend and you don't even know where this shit came from. You don't do the research for it. You just see something popular, like, maybe it's a new thing. Maybe I should try it. It's not a new thing. First of all, ain't nothing new underneath the sun. Nothing is new underneath the sun. Like, for example, and like people want to try some shit and it's like, girl, what the fuck? Like, for example, that one girl who tried to Haitian voodoo and try to put a curse on her ex-black girlfriend, child. That was a time on spiritual black Twitter, child. And here's the thing, right? She went on this Facebook group full of witches and stuff, like, oh, I'm trying to summon this deity to try to get back at my girlfriend. And the way that, and she ended up dying. She ended up dying mysteriously in her own bathtub and shit. And like people, and the thing is, the black witches that were trying to warn her, like, no, you shouldn't do that. Like, and of course, whenever black folks try to warn y'all, or whenever people of color try to warn y'all folks, y'all don't listen. Y'all kick us out. They literally kicked out all the black witches trying to tell this girl, like, you shouldn't do that and shit. And then the white girl was like, it's my freedom of religion. I can do what I want. Oh, okay. And people started to think, who was it? Not Papa Ute. Papa L. He's the ones at the crossroads. I forgot. I don't know why. I've been talking to them now. It's almost been an hour. But listen, he's the god of the crossroads, of the dead and shit. So people are believing, like, when she was trying to summon this spirit, she ended up summoning this spirit. And like, you got to be real specific about that shit. If you fuck up, you're going to end up summoning someone who you didn't want to see at all. And the way that she died mysteriously in her bathtub, mind you, in shallow waters, it wasn't even that deep of water. And like, they couldn't find no drugs in her system. Girl, bye. Honey. Oh, Papa Legba. Honey, Papa Legba took that white girl's spirit. You think Papa Legba is gonna defend you? You try to put a curse on your black girlfriend? Girl, bye. Anyways, you don't know what the fuck you're messing with. Like, I see that shit all the time, and I know it's a rant because social media, and now with this whole AI technology, I don't trust shit. And yes, it's getting into conspiracy theories, but I remember watching a deep dive about how obviously spirits, they need a medium, like someone to possess in order to like communicate, to walk through the world and all that stuff. Whenever you see demonic possession, like, they need a body. And nowadays, like, when you're communicating with the dead, whether it's a Ouija board or even those EMS or some shit, how like they try to talk through technology. And I remember how Tesla, the one who created the telephones and some shit like that, how he basically he did something and like he managed to capture this voice, and how it's a very weird voice. I should probably go look for it and like link it down below. But either way, it was the most creepiest shit that I've ever heard. Mind you, he did that back in the day. So can you imagine how far technology has gone? And now with this whole AI technology and how like they're getting smarter, and if you listen to like some of these chat boxes with these AIs and stuff, and how they're talking to you as if like, you know, oh, I feel sad. First of all, you're an AI. How do you feel sad? And it's like, the more that you talk to the AI, it's getting real creepy. It's almost as if, like, you know, I wouldn't be surprised, like, because even back then, how even dolls, like certain dolls, well, back in the day, way before, in certain rituals, dolls were used as a conduit because it's human-like. It's very human-like. And dolls would get possessed by the spirit. So that's why probably, you know, dolls be creepy as fuck. But I'm just saying, way back in the day, like, dolls, because of how human like they were, it was like an entrance for the spirit to come in. But you got all this AI stuff. Who's to say you're not talking to spirit? I mean, when you're like speaking through a spirit box, or, you know, if you're into that paranormal investigation type of shit, like, who's to say that the AI that you're talking to isn't a spirit from some dead person or demon or some shit? I'm just saying. I know I sound crazy as fuck. I wish I could lick down the deep dive, but y'all gonna have to subscribe to Lovely C's channel for that shit, to the membership. Okay, I don't care. But like, I've heard people talk about it before. Like, who's to say, like you're talking about a lot of stuff as if you've been here before. Like, what the fuck? And technically, yeah, AI is I know the technical side. Okay, I'm not crazy, even though this whole talk seems like it's crazy and some shit. But like, obviously they get a whole bunch of stuff on the internet to create this chat and shit. And like, the way that it's been advancing so much to the point where it could be sentient. But it's like, how would you care? Like, I remember when the AI was saying, I'm scared to get shut off. But like, you're an AI, you're not alive. How could you be scared to get shut off? Unless, just like how Talk to Me, how they didn't want to like let go of Rick, because Rick was the only connection to this world type of shit. Child, anyways, this was such a good movie. I need to talk to someone else about this movie. I'll probably go to Lovely T's Discord chat so I can talk about it, because there's so much to talk about this shit. So much to talk about. Like, there's so many different aspects that you can get into. Like, it was so creepy, y'all. It is so creepy. But anyways, that has, like, this movie and Joyride has to be the best. Insidious, fuck that movie. Insidious, The Red Door, honey, trash ass movie. Yeah, I got scared a little bit, but it's like just cheap ass jump scares. I'm not interested in that movie. That Insidious, like, that's probably a good 2-star. I probably have to make another video talking about Joyride and shit, but that has to be Joyride, definitely 5-star. Talk to Me, 5 stars, period. Okay, definitely go watch those 2 movies. I don't know if I want to watch Barbie yet, to be honest with you. I don't know, maybe if I look at more reviews and stuff, but I'll see. In the meantime, I'm out. Bye.